So with the beginning of the record, you're talking about working hard and hope I don't end on the street. Everybody needs a home. Is music a sort of home for you? Or are you talking about a real home, family?
I'm talking about a real home, family, and also friends. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of raw power in the beginning of the record, in that particular number called Home.
Yeah.
And the record ends with the title song, Brick by Brick, where you are talking about building a house where I can think, have balance, dignity, and no one can hurt me, where the weak are strong, and a faith immortal, building it with simplicity and what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Get off my dick, because I'm building this brick by brick.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel constantly, I feel insulted often by day-to-day events in the normal world. It doesn't hit me as much because I get a certain privilege because of what I do sometimes. But people are not, I think a lot of people are badly treated in life. And I think a lot of times the rewards go to the worst people. And I don't like this. So basically in the songs I say I'm going to try to make my own frame of reference and put something together, try to build something here where things can be the way I see it. I'll make the rules here.
Can you tell me a little bit about the beginning? You were born before rock and roll. How was your childhood?
I was like, lived in a little trailer and mobile home, you know, on wheels. And I remember used to have a little ledge up about this high where I would sleep, and I'd sit up there and watch Howdy Doody, watch these American TV programs on an old TV. It was about that deep, and with a little screen, and grew up next to a cornfield in a very country area. Used to play a lot by myself out in the woods and in a rock quarry that used to be filled with water, so you could go swimming and stuff like that, you know. And in the cornfields and the woods and all like that, I could have very good dreams, you know. Imagine I was all sorts of things, you know. And that was nice. That was nice.
So you had a lot of fantasies and were sort of a loner?
I was alone a lot, and I don't know if I had fantasies. I just had a lot of imaginations anyway, yeah. And I used to draw a lot. I had this one figure I used to draw called the Imaginary Mexican. And he was Mexican, and I think I must have seen a picture of Pancho Villa or something. He had a big sombrero and a heavy beard, and he was like a pistolero with the bullets and all, and only he had one leg that was very short and very wide, and another leg that was very thin and very long. It just drooped on the ground. And he had toenails that stuck out of his shoes, and recently I spend a lot of time in Mexico, and someday I'd like to be a Mexican. I think that'd be great. Nice thing to be.
But eventually you became 16, 18, and you wanted to play rock music. Did you get any support from your parents?
Yeah, they were really good about the whole thing. It actually started when I was about 11. There was a school music program, came to my area, and you could have a choice to play like basically brass, trumpet, or tuba, things like this, or cornet, or you could play wind instruments like the clarinet sort of things, or you could play violin or drums. And out of the choice, I chose drums. I wish they'd had piano. If they'd had piano, it's very related to the guitar, and I would have started that much younger, but I missed out. And you know, they would always drive me to rehearsal, and then when I first heard some band music and rock and roll music, they loaned me the money to buy my first set of drums, and they actually gave up their bedroom, which was the only room big enough to play the drums in. They gave it up so I could set up my drums and play there. They used the kids' bedroom. They were very, very, really great people, my mother and father. They're still alive, and we're friends. stay in close touch with them. Then when I wanted to actually stop being a sensible person and be a professional musician, which is what it was considered at the time, a dangerous profession, my father was, he was like, you know, he's like, you'll have to push me out of the door. And so I, oh no, you know, I like, got ready to give him a push, and then he said, okay, I can see you're serious, good luck, you know.
Didn't that come a little bit closer than you expected?
Well, yeah, I think the closest to death I've ever been in my life is now, really, because, you know, now I'm in my 40s, and you're in your 40s, you start to get at least I do, I get a sense of my own mortality. And so I've kind of just like, hey, come on and get me. You know, it's not a bad thing.
Was that very different when you started with the Stooges in 1966, 69, and the beginning of the 70s with the Stooges? It was a very wild performance and a wild life. Did you at that time feel immortal?
Well, in a sense, when you record a performance, you're immortal, in a small way, and that's probably part of the thrill of doing it, and also part of the illusion of modern life. And this goes back to the pharaohs. You know, it's the same thing as how they build this big pyramid and the arcane structures and the mummification, and you know, obviously none of us are immortal, but some part can be of use, I think.
I read somewhere that a reporter who saw some of your early concerts said that people were paralyzed, and they felt they were grateful that you would do the things you did on stage, where you were actually cutting yourself on glass and on beating up drumsticks, and said, well, hey, he's doing it for us. Were you doing it for yourself, or were you really doing it for the black mass audience?
Well, as far as them being paralyzed, I mean, I noticed, you know, when I started singing, I used to notice that sometimes you could, because it was so different, I guess, than what anyone else was doing, I could look at the back of the room and I'd notice the shapes of body outline, and it would never change. It'd just be like that. It looked like a cardboard cutout. I don't really think too deeply about why I do what I do. I just do it, and there are a lot of emotions that go into it, and a lot of reasons, just like anything else anybody does. I didn't go out every night and cut myself on broken glass either. You know, it just happened a couple times. You know,
was it real or gimmick? I hope you don't misunderstand me.
No, it wasn't a gimmick. I was influenced a lot by there was a sax player called John Coltrane. Free jazz sax player. He would play very, very unpredictably and very emotionally from the heart. He had total command of his instrument. I was using my body as a replacement for that saxophone.
I mean, you decided yourself to go to hospital and to get better and to create a new life for yourself. So you must have had it in you to fight.
Yeah, I think everybody has that in them, you know.
But not everybody comes out of it the way you've come out of it.
I guess I've been lucky. I certainly feel lucky to be alive. You know, feel, wow, it's great, you know.
How much of that, there's a lot of stories around in the music business about David Bowie and this...
He was very instrumental at a certain time. I was at the mercy of Los Angeles, and the whorehouse that it is, and he helped me get out of there. Basically, that's the bottom line. He wanted to get out himself, you know, and it was very very timely. You know, he's a good guy.
That's some of the stories I've heard, that he's very respected on the human level.
He's a good guy, yeah. He's good, works hard too. A good, serious guy.
If we go to the comeback later on, you came back strong after being away for some years. Not because of drugs or anything, but because you needed a break, I understand. You came back with and went on tour with Bowie.
And it was the drugs and drink. It just, you know, it was like, you know.
And on that tour,
I just changed drugs. That's all.
And you learned some
heroin over to coke. You know, it was easier to get. You know,
and easier to get rid of.
Yeah.
And that's so dangerous to be addicted to.
You could, yeah, well, just as dangerous and just, you know, easier to get, and you could drink with it, and that's legal. So I thought, oh, this is great, it's legal, legal, so big fucking deal, you know, great.
You came back after the tour with David Bowie, where you were more or less backstage and just being with David Bowie. You came back with 2 records in 1977 called The Idiot and Lost for Life. I hope you don't take me wrong when I say, was this The Idiot coming back with a Lost for Life?
Well, I'll go, yeah, if you think so, that's fine, you know. No, I think I'd always had that, lust for life, you know. Yeah, sure. I think that's what got me in a lot of trouble, basically. Yeah, that's what I sing about in the song, you know.
Into the 1990s and today and the future. The new album still seems to have a lot of the anger that's been in all of the records, the hidden anger that comes out in a song called Butttown, where you have to keep your head down.
Yeah, but in Butttown, and a lot of them, I'm angry about a lot of stuff and questioning it, but I also mention that I'm involved, because, you know, corruption's everywhere, and everybody's got their feet in the shit, the way I see it, you know.
Is that what you're singing about? On one of the songs you say, America, this country, just scared of failure. Is that, and you're not mainstream, we are what we are.
Well, talking in the line, scared of failure, it just means that there is a mood I see in the country right now among individuals. A lot of people are scared not to have anything, because if you don't have any money, it's see you later. People are scared. Yes, you betcha. No medical care, no housing, no friends.
The Michigan Palace.
Yeah.
And I hear there was a particular story on the...
Yeah, well, the night before, we were playing at this beautiful establishment called the Rock and Roll Farm in Farmington, Michigan, and some guy kept throwing eggs at me, and he had a really good aim, and he kept hitting me, so I can dodge him, usually pretty good. This guy was good. So finally I got sick of it, and I was wearing like I was wearing ballet tights and little ballet slippers and a little kind of I think I was like part of a curtain around my waist or something. And, you know, I said, okay, oi, hey, stop the music. Okay, everybody, out of the way. I want to see the motherfucker who's throwing the fucking eggs at me. So they parted the way, and here's this guy. He was huge, and he had one of these knuckle gloves on. It went up like a big leather glove, went up to here, and with studs here and studs here and studs on the knuckles. His other hand, he had a dozen great eggs. He kind of just smiling at me like, hi, you know. So I went out, come on, motherfucker. And I went out, and he duked me, you know, and I saw stars and everything. And I woke up, and he wasn't too bad about it. He just hit me once. That's all it took. And I got up and finished the gig. And then it turned out, I found out he wanted to be in a bike gang called the Scorpions. And for his initiation, they said, you got to go throw eggs at Iggy Pop. So, you know, it was kind of funny. So I was on radio the next day before this Detroit concert, and I said, look, you know, the Scorpions are a bunch of pussies, and, you know, you guys, you know, you ride around in your little, Honda 50s, and everything, you know, and, yeah, you ain't happening, you know. I'm going to be down at Michigan Palace with my friends, the God's Children, who was a rival gang who were friends of mine. So come on down and see what you can do, you know, sort of thing. And so it made it for a good time, because they all came down, and plus there were just a lot of people in Detroit who kind of hated this. There were a lot of people who used to hate the Stooges. There wasn't just, I mean, some towns it would be just like this, but a lot of towns were like, get 'em! You know, they really hated us. And probably particularly me. And so, you know, we went out and played, and they were throwing all this stuff at us, and you can hear it on the record, but I mean, it never came to anything. It was just a thing.
Did you ever get any reactions?
Something good fun.
Did you ever get a reaction from your father, for example, on these concerts or these years?
Yeah, he came to the first show he ever came to of mine. It was a big show, and a lot of bands, 20,000 people maybe, and he came and he said, you know, after the show, he said, "Oh, it was all right," you know, and he said, "You remind me of he used to play baseball, and he said, you remind me of a pitcher, a young pitcher, all speed and no control." That's what he said. But then my mother told me afterwards, she said, "Listen, while you were on, your dad couldn't see, so he climbed up a pole." You know, he was into it, you know. So they used to come to a lot of my gigs. They came for about 10, 12 years until enough was enough. Now they don't come to the gigs. It's like, you know, give them a break, you know.